So I'm coming up to the Piazza dei Miracoli, the Square of Miracles, where of course the Leaning Tower of Pisa is. And here we go, our first glimpse, framed by the archway. Have a look at that. And that is spectacular. Hey, shall we go in and explore? Of course. Andiamo. Let's go. Saturday morning, all the tour groups have arrived. And on our day trip from Florence, we've got about an hour to explore. Plenty of time. Unless you want to climb the tower, because that's going to take you 30 minutes. So something to consider. Lots and lots of people, of course, because this is one of the iconic attractions globally, isn't it? The Leaning Tower of Pisa. Construction began in 1193, and more or less from day one it started to lean. An engineering issue. The designer, the architect, didn't dig the foundations deep enough, and we know what happens to buildings. They start to lean and possibly topple down. So it was put on hold. The whole construction was put on hold for about 70 years. They started again, and it's just kept leaning. Presently, it's at about just under 5% lean. You know what? In 1987, it was World Heritage listed, UNESCO. But in 1990, closed to the public for fear of it collapsing. But a year or two later, they, I guess, underpinned the foundations, secured the lean, and it's been pretty good since. But it's a fantastic attraction. So, look, if you're in Italy, yes, it's a must. I like that angle there, okay? So, when you're here, make sure you do walk around. Most people stay to one side, and this angle is fantastic. Have a look at that. Love it. This angle too, you really get an appreciation for the lean of the tower. You can understand why it was closed in 1990. I felt it was going to fall over. I'm fortunate to have visited Pisa before. What I like doing is watching people doing the classic holding up of the tower. Now, I've contributed to that too. I might just get some sneaky shots of people holding it up. It's quite good to watch. Okay, getting that classic photo, holding up the tower. Everyone's doing their bit to hold up the tower. Oh, there's someone kissing the tower over there. I like that. So it's a must do. Do your bit to hold up the tower. Okay, so look, just finally, there's a fair bit to getting that perfect photo of holding up the tower. I passed a couple there, and the one of the partners was just explaining to his, I guess, girlfriend, let's get the angle of the hand correct. So he was correcting her and then going back, trying to get it so the hand and the building married up wonderfully. Not that easy. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. Isn't it fantastic? Not allowed on the grass, by the way. If you walk on that, the security will come out and tell you to remove yourself quite quickly. Just wonderful. It's got a fair lean, hasn't it? It looks actually like it's leaning more than last time I was here just before Christmas, but obviously it's not. Baptistery there, representing birth, the church representing life, and the cemetery behind, obviously representing death. You can climb up the Leaning Tower, but when you're on a day trip, like I am today, we're here for an hour, and the up and down climb's about 30 minutes. It's going to put you under a bit of stress to take your time and, smell the roses. So I'm not doing the climb up. I'm just going to spend my time wandering around this beautiful piazza, this square, and enjoy being here. So look, previously I was here just before Christmas, but we arrived right on dusk, right on sunset. So you get a whole different perspective with the evening light against that white marble. It's pretty spectacular. So what do you think? Leaning Tower of Pisa, worth a visit? Look, I think so. Look, Pisa itself, you've got the University of Pisa. It's 13th century, one of the oldest universities in Europe, and still is very much a university town here. But in terms of visiting, I mean, this is really what you're coming to see, isn't it? There's some nice little areas in the older part of Pisa, but when your time's limited, yes, see the tower, and that's where the day trip coming up from Florence is good, because you get to see this. It's iconic. It is iconic. All the more day trippers arriving, they'll be arriving like this all day. Now we're about to get back on the bus, and we're going down to southern Tuscany now to a vineyard. We've got some wine tasting before going to San Gimignano and then to Siena. I'm looking forward to sharing our experiences with you. Limited. So if your time is limited with your visit to Tuscany and Florence, a one-day bus tour out into Tuscany certainly is recommended. And look at this, very comfortable. And I'll tell you what, we did well. We spoke to the tour organiser Barbara and just said that we both get a bit of motion sickness. She said, stick with me. When we get on that bus at the start, I'll make sure you can get a seat up near the front. And we're actually the very, very front seats upstairs. It is great. So there you go. And look, this is just a snapshot of our view from that front seat. Now that's pretty good, isn't it? Can I just say that I do suffer from motion sickness too, and so does my old colleague from Beijing and now close friend who now lives in the UK. We both experience a bit of motion sickness, but it just goes to show, doesn't it? You do need to communicate that. So the Leaning Tower of Pisa, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's one of those structures you think, is it going to be as good as I think it will be? And it does deliver. It's really awe-inspiring. I really enjoyed visiting there, and I've been fortunate. As I said, I've been there actually 3 times now. But another option you could do is jump on a train yourself from Florence and do it on your own. Just train up to Pisa, have a quick look and train back. So there's another option for you. The train system is very, very efficient here in Italy. Something to think about. So that's it for this episode where we visited Pisa. Expat Lifestyle with Bats. Thumbs up, subscribe, bell notifications on. I'll see you next episode. Another exploration of Tuscany. Ciao.